everyone, welcome back to my part 3 stitch with me on Moon Witch. Today is the 12th of October. It's a lovely sunny day outside and I'm going to do a bit more on this chart which I started at the beginning of the month and really gotten quite a lot done on this so far. So I've managed to get quite a lot of the moon done and I've come down, trailed my way down to the witch's hat just for, well, just out of interest really, because it's not something I've ever done before. I've never actually left a top left corner behind and gone on a trail somewhere else. So yeah, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with it. Why not? I mean, the reason I got the slightly higher count of 20 rather than 25 count is so that I could see the stitches a lot better. And so if I wanted to, have a little experiment and go in different places, that it would be easier for me to do that than I find it on the 25 count. So I'm going to work a little bit on the black here, but I am still a little bit cautious about going too far. And when I say too far, I mean all the way down to the bottom of the page or something. I don't think I'd be able to do that. I still get this kind of itch to keep going back up and filling in everything. And I think it's because of the kind of stitcher that I am that I just end up, I just have always done blocks and rows and things like that. So to get a different mindset of, actually telling your brain that it's okay to have, scattered stitches, that it's not anything like the piece isn't going to blow up or something if you don't get those stitches in. So I'm trying to, I have actually enjoyed it a little bit. It does feel a little bit more freeing, like there is the freedom of going where you like. Oh, my needle does feel a bit scratchy today. It's not usually scratchy, but it does feel a bit scratchy today. This is a size 28, which is fairly small, and I like small needles. I've got used to them now. So here we are. Now what's interesting is that when I thought about doing the whole silhouette of the witch, I thought, why don't I just do the whole witch? That'll be really cool. Just, call it a fun project. It doesn't have, if something goes wrong, don't stress about it. It's just, let it just be a learning curve in terms of doing this type of cross country. So I'm okay with that. So far, so good. So I thought I might just do the whole outline of the witch. This was my first thought when I was coming down. But then it wasn't just that simple. When I actually zoom into Pattern Keeper and I look at the silhouette of the witch, there are tons of other dotted stitches inside. Now all these stitches inside here, they're not black. This is like 934, there's 823 in there, there's 3379. If you're a seasoned stitcher, you know what those colors are. So they're dark grays and dark blues. They're not all black. So in between here, the silhouette, the outline of the witch is a lot of different colors dotted around. So I don't think I want all those little bitty gaps inside the witch. So I tried to fill out a few of them first, so that when I come along with the 310 black, I am able to they're already done, so it won't be quite so, there won't be so many holes inside the witch. So yeah, I'm sure other people do it that way as well. So they kind of fill in the little onesies and twosies and little scattered ones like that before filling in the ones that have a lot more color. So that's really interesting. So yeah, there's an awful lot of decision making when you work like this. It's like, which area am I going to work? Which color am I going to use? Which is totally different to the kind of snake method. So it does require a bit more thought. And the other thing is, I can't relax into listening and watching TV or something whilst I'm doing this, because it's too much counting. Especially when I was coming down here, I thought if I make a mistake coming down to the hat, it's game over. So I wasn't even certain about that. So I had to fill in more stitches around just to make sure I'd got it right. But there was no way I could like listen to an audiobook or anything at the same time, because I would have gone wrong, terribly wrong. Oh, that stitch didn't come out too great. So you're probably thinking that some of you might find it preferable to do this with 2 strands rather than 1, because you would find that the fabric shows through not to your liking, which is totally fine if that's what you want to use, 2 strands. I tried before, at some point I tried 2 strands on 20 count, and it started to get just too thick for me with the 1/1, so I abandoned it. So I thought I want to actually just enjoy it rather than, this is just my opinion, I want to enjoy this project myself without having to worry about it getting tight, having too many strands crisscrossing at the back that are going to lead to that matted carpety effect, and then trying to push the needle from behind to the front. And I have sort of snapped needles in the past trying to do that, so I thought, no, I'd rather, you know, just be more comfortable with the actual stitching. And I personally don't think it's a bad coverage. It's like there's a slight bit of white coming through the dark, but you don't see anything in the lighter colors, and it really isn't bad enough to bother me. I think if it was 18 count, it might, but because there is quite a lot of dark. But I can do 20 count. I'm happy enough with it. So basically, it's all good. So I would rather think, this is funny because I used to do 2/110 on 25 count, and that was pretty thick. Not quite as bad as a 28 count, but pretty thick overall, very carpety. The overall result, like my Riverwalk charm, the first third of that piece at least was 2/110, and it does feel very, very thick, like a rug. I didn't mind it at the time, but now I seem to go more of a sleek and a thinner result. So I'm more into the 1 strand now. I just find it's easier to thread. It's easier to I think you actually use less thread if you're using 1 strand than if you're using 2. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it does seem possible. So yeah, I've completely changed my preferences, which is interesting, because you would think that with something like stitching that you would find your method and stick with it, your technique, but that, I don't think that's happened. I think my tastes have changed. My techniques are always changing. They change all the time. So I can't really say any longer that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years, or goodness knows when, I'll come back and be doing 2/110 again, because you just don't know. Right, have I made a mistake here? Yes, I have. I've gone and done an extra stitch, which I shouldn't have done. You see, once I start talking, I start doing new stitches. Okay, that one goes here. So I purposely decided to do a slightly easier part or section so that I could just have a little uninterrupted chat. So there's some cleaning up and stuff going on here at the moment. A little bit of home improvements. So I wanted to come and get this done before everyone was up and making noise and all that sort of thing. So just early in the morning is a quieter time of day. Can't seem to get my needle through today. I've been doing absolutely great with it the whole of the week, couple of weeks, and now today it's like, where is the hole? I can't find it. Maybe it's just a bit too early for me. So I'm quite happy with how this one is going, and I have been working on my Vatican sunset. I absolutely love that one so much. I'm honestly really digging it at the moment. I don't know what's going on with that one, but I just keep wanting to bring it out all the time. And I have worked on this, pretty much the same ones that I worked on last month, which is Fairy Whispers by Lisa Parker, Riverwalk Charm by Ruane Manning. This one, I've also worked on Perfect Whisper. I think that's another Lisa Parker one as well. I seem to have done a lot of Lisa Parkers. Vatican Sunset is by Thomas Kincaid. And yes, that's 4 of them that I've been focusing on, and I'm continuing to focus on. And I've seen that a couple of floss tubers have kind of decided to make their goals not necessarily getting a finish anytime soon, but just focusing on a couple of pieces, or really narrowing down what they're focusing on just to try and get more progress. I think that it's a bit of a shame for the ones that I'm not working on, but I feel like if I tried to work on all of them, even within a month, I'm just spreading myself a bit thin. So there's many that I've put away that I'm not really thinking about because I want to be, well, I'm working on the ones that I'm working on. Because I only have 2 hands and that's all I can do. So I really can't get to everything. I'm just as much to blame as everybody else for starting too many and having too many on the go. And even when I seem to UFO a few, I still seem to have too many. But yeah, I don't really like to have more than 20 overall because it just starts to get too overwhelming, but everybody is so enabling. It's quite frustrating. That for me, that could be one of the most frustrating things on FlossTube is the enablement, is getting excited about something when you know full well you've got no more time in the day to be doing it, but you still go ahead and do it anyway. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. But hey, let's just call it fun, shall we? We'll just put it under the fun bracket. We can't allow it to stress us. It just wouldn't do any good. Oh, have I done something else now that I shouldn't have done? No, that's okay. I'm doing what I did last video, and I'm marking off stitches that I haven't yet stitched, which is really confusing. Now I'm going to mark it off. Okay. So I know that I'm not going to finish Riverwalk Charm anytime soon. That one is at like 56%. So it's taken me 4 years. I think I seriously got into it in 2020. I think there was a whole like 10 months where I never touched it as well. So that's almost another year of not touching it. So 2020, let's say 2021, I didn't really do much. 324. So I would say 4 years for actual stitching on it. And I don't think that's bad for a large chart of like nearly 400,000 stitches. So it is at 56%, coming up to very close to 57. So I'm not really going to focus on it, like do it crazily until I get to about nearly 90%, because I think by that point it won't take, if I really concentrate on it, won't take me too long to finish. Whereas if I start making it all a big focus now, I'm not going to get to work on anything else. It's still going to take me ages to finish, so I'd rather just keep that into my normal stitching routine, which is probably a couple of times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, which is fine. It plods along, gets some work. But like I said in my last video, I couldn't stitch on the Artecy chart that started, the cottage one, because it just killed me. All that confetti was just horrendous, and I just didn't want to pick it up, to be fair. So my motto is to work on the things that I love. And that's really it. So I do plan to come back and do a update at the end of October and have a bit more progress to show you. That's the plan anyway. I'm also enjoying seeing everybody else's progress. And there's always so many new people turning up with so many interesting projects. And there seem to be such a lot of stitch-alongs at the moment. I'm really not a stitch-alongy person, to be honest. I work for myself. I'm not very good at doing stuff like stitch-alongs in groups or stuff like that. I've always sort of been, I don't like particularly exclude myself. I just don't gravitate towards those things as much. I like to just do my things, my own time, in my own way, and I don't particularly like feeling that I have to get something done on a certain week or keep up with everybody else or that kind of thing. That doesn't do it for me. I was like that in school. In school, I would be the girl in the back of the class, not really interested in the clicky games that everybody else did in the classroom. And you get like a little bunch of girls sitting together. I'd be steering clear of that kind of thing. I like to be not the nerdy one, I wouldn't say, because I wasn't particularly nerdy, but I would say I just liked my own company best. Let's say, just part of my character. I was friendly and I did have friends. I wasn't the biggest extrovert or anything like that. The thing with stitching black is that you get a lot of these. Well, especially me, that I've got a cat with very light brown, with cream hair. I don't know why I keep picking charts that have got black on it, because it does drive me a bit nuts having to pick out her hairs all the time. And you can vacuum as much as your heart desires, but when you've got a cat who has shedding hair, especially of the lighter colour variety, I suppose the black hairs can also be very visible. Black hairs on white furniture, oh my god. But yeah, no amount of vacuuming in the world is going to take away all the hairs, I tell you. They even get inside your mouth, which is, disgusting. Yeah, this fabric is definitely a bit more scratchy than the 25 count even weave that I buy, which is really soft. So I'm thinking my preferences now is I really like the soft fabric, but I like it quite taut when I'm stitching on it. Can't do the scratchy stuff, but this isn't too bad. Don't think you can get very soft fabric that's gridded in 20 count. I really don't think it's out there. You might be able to get 20 count ungridded in some soft variety, but this gridded stuff is definitely crunchy. So I've already started buying a few Halloween knickknacks and bits and pieces because I love Halloween's my favorite time of year, because Halloween is my birthday, and I feel like because it's my birthday, for me it's extra special. So I don't do the whole trick and treat thing. Well, my son is too old for that now anyway. But I do like to, I don't go crazy with decorations. I'm not even a person who's big into decorations, which is funny. I mean, you could just call me boring, but I like to have a few choice things. So the other day when I was in town, I bought like a snow globe, but it's not snow, it's a Halloween, it's a haunted house. And if I manage to get a picture and I remember, I'll pop a picture of it here in the video. So I like to decorate my mantle anyway with the seasons. So in Halloween I've got the snow globe with the haunted house in it. It's really cute because when you shake it, you've got this gold glitter coming down, but it's not just gold glitter. You've got bats flying around as well, which I thought was a really cool touch. And then I've got my owls in a snow globe, which come out in the winter. And I don't have a globe for the summer, which I might have to source, because I thought, well, I might as well get all four seasons. The Halloween one, I think I'm going to keep until Christmas, even when Halloween's past. Why not? Why not, she says. So yeah, just like a few choice decorations, because I'm not one for ostentatious. Like, I don't like a huge amount of decoration. I'm just a bit more subtle than that. Never underestimate how long it actually takes to do block stitching, because it's not as quick as you think, especially when you can't get your needle to the hole you want to get it to. Okay. Sorry, I didn't even give you any stats or anything this time. So, since my last video, I have achieved, well, I don't know how many stitches in total, but I've now got to, oh yeah, I've got to 1,848 stitches. With this next stitch, it's going to be 1849, and I'm at 3.02% on this chart, which is a total of 61,200 stitches. So I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I don't know how often it's going to come out after October. Probably will still bring it out in November, because I feel like it needs more time. 1 month isn't really enough to get a good bit in, but I think at some point it's going to go away until I just fancy bringing it out again. Might even go away till next Halloween. I don't really know. But I feel like I've enjoyed working on this as a sort of fun stitch. You can really see the witch's hat detail coming in now. It's pretty cool. I think I can only manage a couple of more stitches here. I did use the Anchor Black because I'm not really a fan of CXC threads. So I find Anchor Black is a little bit more fuzzy, a little bit thicker than DMC 310. So I tend to use the Anchor Black for certain projects. Right, I'm just going to end this thread because it's getting a bit, I don't want my needle to ping off and disappear. That'll do. That's simple. I don't do pin stitches or anything. All I do is bring the tail down. Maybe that wasn't down far enough that time, but usually bring it down and just snip it. Never had a problem with stitches coming loose. Having one of those funny days where your thread is very loose. Limp is the word. So it doesn't want to go in the needle. Other days it's really, really good and goes straight into the needle. I think it depends on the moisture in the air. Something like that. The other thing I've noticed is working on these light colours at night does do your eyes in a little bit. Oh, what have I done here? I can't even see. I've done something wrong. Okay. Let's try that again. It's got a little tangle somewhere at the back. That's it. I'm going to go back down and back up the other way. Oh, my needle's slipping now. This is starting to unravel this video. Okay, there we are. Managed to secure it better. Just remember, things will go wrong. Things do go wrong. From time to time. Don't blame yourself. It's just the way it rolls. So I just realised when I come back to do another video, where are we now? It's the 12th. 34. Oh, Misty, what happened? She just jumped up in the air, gave herself a fright. Did you dream about a dog chasing you or something? What happened? Oh, she's got herself into a tiz. So I do find that when I start stitching, I'm a little bit sometimes awkward about it until I actually get into it. It takes me a little while to get into things, especially when I'm changing from project to project, which is why I don't really like working on so many different projects at the same time period. I've noticed some people saying that they want to finish an entire project this year when it looks like there's thousands of stitches, and I think, oh my goodness, how are you going to do that? Like I literally, my average is about 300 a day on a good day. I can't do more than that. I just don't seem to be able to get the numbers up that high. I think when I was doing tent, I used to get higher numbers. Obviously, I could do like 600, which so it makes sense to me that 300 for full cross would be like 610 stitches, right? So that kind of makes sense. So I don't know how anyone can do like 1,000 full crosses in a day. Even if it is like this, maybe I'm just a bit slower because I'm trying to, well, I'm definitely slower whilst I'm doing a video, no question. But when I'm not recording and I'm stitching, I'm actually not even that fast. But I think you have to take everything into perspective. Like there are so many instances where so many factors depending on your speed. Like how many times do you have to get up to go to the bathroom? Do you drop your needle on the floor, which takes away, I don't know, 1 minute to go and look for it, or to go and find another one? Somebody speaks to you, so you stop stitching for a couple of minutes whilst you listen and reply. Maybe you go up to make a cup of coffee. Maybe, you know, you get distracted by something else. Changing threads could take, you get a knot. You might spend time. I've easily spent 5 minutes trying to take a knot out. All of these things are factored in. How many times, how long you're actually sitting there for. So I don't understand when people are using, here's a question for some of you, using markup RXP, which is the program that gives you the time spent stitching. So I mean, how does it actually work? Do you just record? Is there a button to record your stitching time when your session, when you begin and end, so you can tell it, okay, I'm starting my stitching at this time now, and then you end that by pressing another button when you finish stitching. So what happens when you drop your needle, say, and you have to go looking and get, that's not actual stitching time, is it? And if you go to the bathroom, that's not actual stitching time either. So you could be recording time that you haven't actually spent stitching. Now, I'm not saying you have to be like completely, what's the word? That you have to be completely specific and have, you know, as soon as your hand stops stitching, you stop the counter or something, because that would be like, that would be a bit robotic. But how does Markup RXP record your actual stitching time? That's what I'm just curious. I don't have Markup RXP. I think I downloaded it one time a couple of years ago and I couldn't get it to work. Or, oh, I know what happened. I'm pretty sure I paid for the full version and I never got the full version. I just got, it kept saying, please upgrade or something. And I just got annoyed with it. Because I couldn't get it to work. So I don't think I ever got as far as trying to use it properly. I think I had a look around it, but I didn't actually get to use it in my stitching time. So I don't know what it could offer me in terms of functions, because all I really use is the parking and marking off my stitches. And the diagonal lines. I don't know if there's, okay, it gives you a few more stats. But I've got stats on the Pattern Keeper that tell me what my percentage is and stuff like that. I'm not really bothered about it telling me how much time I've spent stitching because, to be honest, brutally honest, I don't really care if it tells me 70 hours or 100 hours. Actually, that just makes me feel a bit depressed. I spent so long doing that amount of stitching and maybe not getting a finish. So I don't really know if it would work for me. I think if I've got everything I need in the Pattern Keeper, even though it can be a little bit buggy sometimes, has been a little bit buggy sometimes. I get Chinese symbols on it and all sorts. Sometimes it doesn't, the symbols go a bit screwy. and it shows all kinds of weird symbols. Sometimes the little squares are completely blank, and you have to kind of zoom in and zoom out, or go out of the program and back into the program so that it clears itself. Yeah, it's done some strange things, but overall it seems to be pretty sturdy. So I don't see why, getting markup RXP, I don't want to get it just for the sake of saying I've got it if I don't actually need to use it. Misty, please stop scratching the furniture. Did any cat ever listen to a command like that? When you tell them to please stop doing something like wrecking your home, they just do it worse, don't they? Okay. I'm going to do a few more. This is not going to be a long one today because, hang on a second, I've missed a stitch here. I've just got a few things I need to do. But I did want to actually come and spend at least half an hour, which is better than nothing. And I know I've been rabbiting on, so apologise if I've talked about a lot of rubbish, but you just never know what's going to come out when you start doing these things. Oh, goodness me, there's some awful song being played in a car outside. Dreadful. I might have liked it when I was a teenager, but now it's horrendous. I don't know whether you can hear it. Yeah, it's a bit strange. Probably not only in Scotland, probably everywhere else too. You get these young drivers with their blaring music. Right. So how many stitches have I done? I've done 50. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. I'm hoping at least by the next session, the next stitching session, I will have at least maybe finished the hat. Maybe done a little bit more on the moon. Might go back up and do sky. See, that's the nice thing about, that is actually the nice thing about doing the cross country, is that you've got options of where you want to go depending on your mood, which I find, even though I love doing the diagonal and everything, I find it a bit restrictive that if you're doing the diagonal, you can just go down. All you've got is going down in the diagonal. And if you're not in the mood for that kind of confetti or whatever, there isn't a lot more choice for you, unless you start new diagonals when you haven't finished your old diagonal, that kind of thing, which I have done, to be honest. I have done that. Yeah, so that's all I have today, folks. I know it hasn't been very long, but I hope it hasn't been too short, and I look forward to seeing you again in a few more days, and I'll be stitching on this one, getting a little bit more progress on it. So let me know if you've enjoyed it, and I'll come back and see you again soon. Bye for now.